Hello, y'all. I am back on this exercise bike. Once again, ready for another video. So, this video is going to be especially for men. However, I am going to use some examples in this video for women. So, the name of this video is going to be Tread Lightly, Men. And this is what I mean. Tread lightly. Be careful. And as I go into this video, you will understand more of what I mean. There's a YouTuber. I like a lot of his content. A lot of his videos are in my playlist. Remember, everything in my playlist does not mean that I agree with every single thing that's being said. Remember that. I just think the videos are insightful. I want you to learn as I learn. However, this particular gentleman, this YouTuber, he claims 4 daughters, a wife. He does believe in polygamy. That's his right to believe in that. However, some of the advice that he gives can be narcissistic. You may say the same thing about me. You know, I may give advice and you may say, well, in that area, maybe that's a little narcissistic. Maybe you don't think that way. I'm just saying that just because I see it in someone else doesn't mean someone else couldn't view my videos and say the same thing. But overall, and I pointed this out in another video, I did test out to be empathic or a empath. And like I said in another video, that's not necessarily nothing to brag about. However, I think the part that I could brag about as far as definitely being an empath is being a protector. So I'm either going to protect or not protect, but usually I'm going to fall on the realm of protecting. So this particular YouTuber, like I said, I add a lot of his content to my playlist. However, the part I don't agree with is when he says things like, some women should just be concubines. That was a biblical word, and that was something that was going on historically where some women back in those days, during Bible times or biblical days, they were just used just for sexual intercourse. And I mean, we still got some level of that going on right now. We may not call them concubines. However, I mean, you got women that's signing up to be that pretty much. However, what I mean by tread lightly, men, I want you to understand this. Just because someone is a male doesn't mean they're necessarily giving you the advice to protect you. And you also, when you're getting advice from anyone, look at their background. Okay, so this particular YouTuber, he has all daughters. As far as what I've heard him express, I have not heard him say that he has sons. So, from what I think he said, currently all 4 of his daughters stay with him and then his primary wife. Like I said, he believes in polygamy, so I don't know how many other women are there, if he considers them wives. I don't know. I don't live in this man's home. However, he suggested in so many words to men that when they're going out on dates, to be upfront with the women. Say, hey, I got to get to know you. Something to that effect. And you can be one of my concubines for right now, or I can consider you to be a concubine. However way he said it. So this is what I want you to listen to. Men, don't do that. And I'm getting ready to tell you why. This particular gentleman, he has daughters. I have sons. So my bond with a male, because I have sons, may be in some sense more of a better, how can I word this? I have sons, so I have the empathy for a male child or adult, if that makes sense. This particular man has girls. And to be honest with you, you got to be careful with this narcissistic behavior because he may not be a full blown narcissist. However, since some of his advice from time to time can be narcissistic, which means he has some level of empathy, but not a lot of it. He may not have as much of it as I would have since I tested out to be an empath. So, because of that state of mind or whatever, and he has the daughters, I promise you this, if his daughters grew up and some man was telling his daughters, well, you can just be my concubine, and he was okay with that, that would make him a full-blown narcissist at that point. Because, see, a lot of times with this narcissistic advice, it's okay to give it out to you, but if they're actually in the same situation, or someone that's related to them that's in the same situation, suddenly their advice ain't so cool. This would be the man that would be trying to beat a man up for telling his daughter to be a concubine. Because it's cool to tell another man that that's how he should talk to women, but in actuality, this same gentleman may find out when his girls grow up that that ain't cool. Or this gentleman, by the time his girls are fully grown, may change his ideas. You know, people's views change also. So when you do have some level of empathy, and he does believe in a higher power, due to your belief in the Lord, your views can very well change to become more empathetic, if that makes sense. So what I mean by men tread lightly is this. I have sons. So listen here. Don't you go out and meet with no woman and tell her that she should be a concubine recommended. And I'm getting ready to tell you why. These women is killing y'all, putting whole bullets in you, shooting you in the back of your head. One lady just killed her husband that way. And he wasn't even talking to her that way. He wasn't even calling her a concubine or none of that. I mean, of course, that was his wife, but I'm just saying he still got a bullet in the back of his head, and he wasn't even talking all crazy. So remember, as I pointed out, I have sons. So just because that particular YouTuber gentleman is a man, as far as I know, he has no sons. So because I'm very empathic, my advice may serve you better. Okay, another thing. Just because somebody's a YouTuber doesn't mean they really have studied on crime cases. I consistently watch the crime cases, and I'm recommending that you not talk to women like that. And as I said earlier, I'm going to give some advice about the women too. I wouldn't go out on a date and tell a man, well, you know what? You can be my man or whatever. Maybe we'll get married. But just to let you know, I prostitute. I have clients. Because this is the thing. If I got myself killed talking to somebody like that, that wasn't my time to go. I made that my time to go. And another thing I want to point out, you want to be on the right end spiritually. So I would rather put my life at risk presenting my moral values than presenting devil worship. Because when you talk like that, whether you be the man or female, when you're disrespecting people and talking like that, that's a form of devil worship. Not to get too religious on you, but that's what that is. If a man is going out telling a woman, well, you could be my concubine, and degrading her and talking to her that way, that's devil worship. I mean, he ain't speaking about no Lord. See, and the reason that type of talk involves more devil worship or evil or wickedness other than worshiping the Lord is because it has no regard for the person's feelings that you're talking to. I just had an experience at my home with a relative. I'm not going to get too much in details about it, but I'm fine. I'm not in the hospital or anything like that. But that particular situation is even teaching me how dangerous it can be to even follow someone out the door, have a little mild or minor dispute. It can escalate to where one or two people may throw a lick or throw a blow. Stuff like that can happen within the snap of a finger. So, men, you want to tread lightly. So, a lot of times what you listen to has a lot to do with your personality type too, and how you was raised and how you was brought up. But you just don't want to be the type of man that's talking to women like that because they're too dangerous for y'all. These women are getting more and more dangerous. There's a lot of things that go on. Look, you got women that's killing their babies and their kids, right? So just think about that. When you go out with a woman and you talking all this crazy mess to her, you don't know this woman's background, right? You don't know how many prescription medications she just took. You don't know if she got a Ouija board up under her bed. You don't know if this chick or this broad is worshiping the devil for real. You don't know what this woman's into. So when you're listening to YouTubers, please reject the advice. Use your own common sense. And that's one of the things about being empathic, is that we have the ability to not listen to a bunch of people or to not follow a bunch of people. Okay, for example, I'm going to use this. I mean, some women, they love the eyelashes. We got a lot of women that's wearing the eyelashes. Some women it looks good on. Some women, maybe not so good. I mean, but everybody's wearing them. But I don't have to wear them because that's what everybody wears. So that's one of the strong traits about some empaths, is that we have the ability to not get into too many trends. And you got to become the same way. It comes easier for some people than others, but you got to learn to develop and think for yourself. Even when you're listening to my videos, think for yourself. And I'm telling you, being a woman that has sons, don't you go do that, because I'm going to give you the same advice I would give one of my sons. I would tell one of my sons, son, don't go out on a date talking to a woman like that, because she might be a nutcase, she might be crazy, and I don't want to have to bury you, son. And so I'm giving you the same advice. This particular gentleman, even though I like him, he has daughters, not sons. So he don't care about you. If you go and you go out on a date and you tell this woman that you don't even know is literally insane that she should be a concubine and you recommend she be there for you, and then you go get in your car and drive off, and this woman shoot through your car, murder you dead right on the spot, or seriously injure you till you paralyzed, that is just what can happen to you. So just keep this in mind when you're watching these videos, gentlemen, and always tread lightly. And women, you know, I do videos from time to time for both. According to my analytics, I have male and female viewers and subscribers at the same time. And so I'm so happy about that, because that means that I'm offering something to both males and females, right? So that tells me that I'm being fair on my channel, because that is one of my goals, and that's something that I strive for, is to be fair. And both have to tread lightly, but this video was primarily for the men, because I thought of this video idea when I heard the gentleman saying, you know, and he said it before. I mean, but those are his views. But this gentleman, he lives low key. He just pretty much is around his family. He talks often about rolling solo. He doesn't even prefer to eat out. He likes the woman to cook at home, you know, that traditional type of stuff. But a lot of what he does too is because of this. You got to use your common sense when you listen to these videos. You got to use your criminal mindset too. So when I'm listening to him and how he's living, he already knows that some of the stuff he says can be very controversial and very offensive. So he's living low key too. So people don't recognize him when he go out and put a bullet in him too. You got to use common sense, and he's smart for doing that. Because when you're saying things on YouTube videos and you're getting a lot of views, and he's already over 100,000 subscribers, he's recognizable in public. I mean, if I seen him in public, I would know who he was. I just would. If I saw his face and he didn't have a mask on, I would know who he is. And he's not an ugly man. I'm not saying that at all, but I would recognize him. That's all I'm saying. And you just got to be very, very careful with everything that's going on in the world. So you got to really, really listen to YouTubers when they're telling you things, because he's telling you to go out and let this woman know that she could be a concubine, while he's sitting up in the house with his wife and girls, with his wife cooking, and he's safe. He's safe. You wouldn't be safe. You could potentially, gentlemen, not be safe, because you out telling some crazy woman that could be really off her rockers to be a concubine, and you don't know the mental status of this woman. You understand what I'm saying? So you got to take some advice with a grain of salt, and don't put yourself in a dangerous situation, because that man is not in danger. And at the end of the day, he don't have sons. Listen to what I'm saying, because my advice is definitely more protective and will guard your life more than the advice that he's giving. I'm female. However, my advice is more protective, because it's not narcissistic advice. It's actually looking at the situation, being able to analyze the gentleman that gave the advice. I love his channel. I love a lot of his videos. I love the stuff that he puts on his channel. However, when it comes to this type of stuff, I don't agree with his views on the concubine stuff. And on one of his videos, he said that if a woman doesn't believe in polygamy, she don't believe in the Lord. And that ain't true neither. Those are lies. That's a lie. I very much believe in the Lord. Just because I don't condone polygamy for myself doesn't mean I don't believe in the Lord. In my opinion, it makes me believe more because the Lord is about commitment. Believing in the Lord comes with the commitment that you make to the Most High. And so that's the same thing that the Lord would want you to make to your husband or your wife. And it's not made for everybody. I would never sign up for something I'm not cut out for. If I know that I couldn't be married to a man that has several other wives, then I shouldn't sign up for that. The Lord would want me not to get myself in that situation. And that doesn't make me not a believer. So some of that stuff, I just throw that stuff out the window. It's just crazy. You can pick up your biblical references and it clearly tells you to not commit adultery. And then if you pick up biblical references that's saying polygamy is okay, then those are the biblical references that you're reading. However, the bottom line of what I'm saying is you can read both. You can pick up references from religious books that tell you how to do polygamy, and then you can pick up biblical references that suggest that you not do that. It's whatever your religion is and what you want to indulge into and what you feel is best for you to follow and which materials you're reading that you need to follow. But at the end of the day, believing in the Lord. So men, make sure that you tread lightly. And don't take the advice without thinking it through. Because to be going out on dates, talking to women that way, considering the day and time that we're in, people are shooting at people when they go through drive-thrus. It doesn't take much of anything in today's world to trigger a man or a woman. And women are becoming just as dangerous as some men. And gentlemen, I don't want you in that situation. I don't want you in that situation. I wouldn't want my son in that situation. I wouldn't want any of my male cousins, uncles, great uncles. I wouldn't want anyone that's a male in my family, my brothers, in that dangerous situation. Be careful how you talk to women, and women, be careful how you talk to men. Because men and women are willing and able to make it where you breathe your last breath. They want to be your Lord and decide that this is your last day on earth. That advice, even though I do like some of that gentleman's content, in my opinion, as far as men, remember, I got sons, so I love y'all. That advice is deadly advice. You can go out with some woman and say that stuff to her and never return home. And then your mother and your father are crying because now you've lost your life. Because you went out and talked to some woman that you had no idea was mentally unstable, talking about she can be your concubine, and your life is ended. Don't do it, gentlemen. Please like, share, and subscribe. I've been on this bike almost 25 minutes. I love y'all so much. Please leave a comment. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.